The Sonic the Hedgehog franchise has an abundance of levels, some that are good and some which are actually quite bad. So in today's video, I'll be giving my top 10 levels from the entire franchise. It doesn't matter if it's 2D, 3D, 1D, it will have a chance to be featured on this list. And just to keep this list as varied as possible, I won't be mentioning any Act 1s or 2s or hard modes or anything like that. If I mention a level on this list, it'll contain every single version of that level, unless specified otherwise. But yeah, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's take a look at my top 10 Sonic levels of all time. Enjoy! Starting off at number 10, we have Night Carnival from Sonic Rush. In general, when it comes to 2D Sonic level design, Sonic Rush is pretty damn good. Even at its lowest points, which actually aren't even that low, it's still a fun and enjoyable game overall. You've got great music, even better visuals, good controls that work well with the level design. Just in general, the only thing holding this thing back is that it's on the DS. Meaning that one, it's so annoying to even play this game in the first place. I mean, the emulators kind of suck ass, not gonna lie. And then obviously the screen crunch means that you can barely see anything. But despite all those hardships, Sonic Rush still delivers in the gameplay department. To start off with, the name, so original. I mean, taking Carnival Night, flipping the two words around, god, so genius. When can we get Hill Green in the next Sonic game? God, I can't wait for that. Now, I definitely do think that Act 2 is the stronger of these two acts, but despite that, Act 1 and 2 are both great levels. Honestly, both S tier. And that pretty much goes for any level on this list, because, yeah, they're all gonna be S tier, duh. But yeah, Night Carnival has such great flow in its level design. There might be some sections where you've gotta wait for a couple seconds, but you can actually just skip it all where it's a boost jump. This stage is all about testing your reaction skills, which requires great mastery of the trick system, because sometimes you gotta go use the tricks to go upwards, left, right, all that stuff. And the music really does help this level a lot because it just suits the environment perfectly. Now, I'm not really the biggest fan of Sonic Rush's soundtrack. I think it's slightly overrated, honestly, except for a couple songs. But when you're playing the actual game, the soundtrack hits, man. It's just not something that I would listen to outside of the game. But yeah, all in all, Night Carnival, a truly great level from Sonic Rush. And with that, we go on to number 9, which is Final Rush from Sonic Adventure 2. I might not be the biggest fan of Sonic Adventure 2 in its entirety, but of course the speed stages are pretty great. And because this is a game with actual rail grinding mechanics, having a level based around rails actually works this time. But yeah, what's not to love about Final Rush? I mean, the setting, the stakes, the music, the difficulty, the pathways, it's all here. And all the platforming that's actually integrated in with the rails here is truly a lot of fun. There are so many shortcuts that you can take using the bounce bracelet, all that good stuff here too. It's just great. There's so many intervening pathways here that you can basically just mix and match until your heart's content. Now, unfortunately, because this is Sonic Adventure 2, the control problems and the, lack of polish here do kind of hurt this level in some areas, but because the level's so well designed, I kind of don't mind it most of the time. Well, except when Sonic just goes through a rail for some reason.
At least you're good, buddy?
No. No, I'm not. How have you gone through the rail?
Unleash, are you okay?
Unleash, you don't sound okay.
He just did it again! What is the point of that rail? My god, this game is janky as hell, man. Like, genuinely, I think of all 3D Sonic games, I think SA2 could do with the remake the most. Like, not even SA1 or Heroes, SA2. Because this game is so close to being a truly great game for me, but it's just the lack of polish and things that just aren't there, so a remake could fix all those issues up. Granted that a possible remake would actually be done properly. But yeah, despite my mishappenings with Sonic Adventure 2, Final Rush is still a top 10 level in the series. And now moving on to a pick that might ruffle some feathers in the community right now, but here we have a game which might not have been expected to be on this list, which is Sonic Lost World Silent Forest Zone 2. And no, I will sit down, mate, because it's not this version I'm talking about. It's the version from the 3DS. That's right, one of the most hated 3D Sonic games in the community has got a spot on this list right now from me. And you probably sat there wondering, why? Really? Lost World 3DS out of all games? In the top 10 levels in the entire franchise? Are you okay, mate? But hear me out, hear me out. Now, despite the way this level looks, because it looks absolutely flipping hideous, the actual level design here is pretty strong. A common issue that people had with the HD version of Sonic Lost World was that the parkour system, while fun to use, never really got a time to shine because, well, the game just doesn't use it in its level design enough. But that's where the 3DS version does it justice. Because there are entire levels in this game where parkour is a huge focus, and this is one of them, as we combine platforming, rail grinding and parkour into one level. And what's funny about the 3DS version compared to the HD version is that this has actual proper rail switching. And I could be wrong here, but the animation for the rail switching here as well, I think this is where Forces and Frontiers got it from, because it looks pretty much identical. So if that's the case, then what the hell were they thinking? Really? Animations from the 3DS version of Lost World? Really, Kishimoto? Really? But let's talk about the actual level design here, because you're probably wondering what's so good about it. Well, there isn't really much to say other than it's just fun to master. With pretty much Lost World 3DS in its entirety, playing it for the first time sucks absolute donkey balls, mate. It's awful. You feel like you're fighting the controls because you just can't get used to them, and then the level design is so flipping challenging. Like, my god, it's a bit of a journey. But in my personal experience, this level and some other levels in the game, even though I found them to be quite a struggle, I could see a little vision in them, like a spark of hope that, hang on, they've got something here. And because of that, when I went back to go ahead and master this level, I found that, wow, this is actually kind of a masterpiece, I ain't gonna lie. When you master the way this game plays with the parkour, rail switching, spin dash jumping, all that good stuff, this level becomes truly brilliant. Like, you see all these enemies right here where you're supposed to be fighting them, well, how about we say just no to that and then jump on top of this thing, then do a quick spin dash jump and boom, skipped. And this isn't even game breaking either, that's just using the mechanics of the game to go faster. And to make this level even better, it plays Honeycomb Highway for some reason. So yeah, despite the way this level looks and the reputation this game has, trust me, if you're gonna play Sonic Lost World 3DS, get a 100% save file, play this level, and you'll be good, mate, honestly, trust me. Because when you get this level down, it is so good. Trust me, man, just trust me. But now going on to number 7 on this list, we have Huge Crisis from Sonic Rush. That's right, another Rush level because the game's so darn good. Now this level is one of the ones that people don't really like from this game because there's a lot of places to get crushed here, which I can understand. Getting a bad cycle in this level means that platforms, when you don't even see them, will come down and then crush you to death, or like a bottomless pit will appear out of nowhere, or the enemy will drop some bombs on you and then kill you. It can be quite a mess sometimes. And then it doesn't help that people also don't like the enemy rooms in this game, where personally I think in this level in particular, I think they actually work quite well because they actually require some thought in them, unlike Mirage Saloon. Wait, what's it called? Mirage Road, there we go. And yeah, outside the enemy fighting rooms and not getting crushed, when you get a good cycle on this level, it is so much fun to play. As usual, the level design here is fantastic, using all the trick system to get to faster pathways, all that good stuff. And then of course, how can you talk about a Sonic Rush level without talking about the music and the visuals, especially the visuals here? This level just looks very cool. I mean, I like the color scheme here, and it does help that we mix and match between going underground and above ground too. It just really helps us the spicing up the level visually. But yeah, overall, Huge Crisis, again, another banger level from Sonic Rush. Definitely making the top 10. I mean, it has to. It's so flipping good when you get the good cycle on it, man. But now, for another controversial pick for number 6, we have Modern Planet Wisp from Sonic Generations. A stage that I'll personally fight you on if you think it is bad. Like, genuinely, let's go outside, mate. Me and you, one-on-one. Contrary to the popular and very wrong belief, this stage is simply goated. I mean, for starters, the 3D sections in the opening, I mean, we all agree that, yeah, that's a pretty good section right there. But then where we don't agree is, of course, the 2D in this level, of which there is a lot. Now, usually I'm an advocate for having more 3D in my 3D Sonic game, but because the 2D in this level is so good, I kinda don't mind. Because of how good Sonic controls in Sonic Generations, it makes going through all the platforming quickly in this level a lot of fun, and then on top of that, you have the Rocket Wisp. Now, many people say that actually breaks the pace of the level, and well, I can kind of see that. The shortcuts that you can actually pull off using it in this level is actually quite insane. There's actually a neat little trick you can do with the Rocket Wisp to get 2 instead of 1. When you first acquire a Rocket Wisp that actually respawns, don't activate it straight away. Instead, wait a couple seconds or whatever for the sound effect to disappear, then activate the Rocket Wisp and charge it until a new one appears, then let go, and just like that, you've got another Rocket Wisp to use straight after this one. And the reason this actually works is because when in the Rocket Wisp form, Sonic can still store another Rocket Wisp, so there you go, cool little strat there, and then using this technique will allow you to do so many more different strats later on in the level. It's a great strategy, honestly. This makes level so much more fun for me. So yeah, this level is just so much fun to play. I can't really comment too much on the visuals and the music because it's a reuse level from the past, but despite that, they made a masterpiece of a level. Truly a glow up from Planet Wisp in Sonic colors being so mid. And now continuing the trend of a Sonic Boost level, well. In number 5, we have Jungle Joyride Day from Sonic Go Leashed. Honestly, both this level and Modern Planet Waste are pretty much on the same level of greatness for me. This level just has the edge because, first of all, it's original. 2, I think it looks nicer because, I mean, just look at that water, man. It's so nice to look at. But then it's also longer by like a minute or something. But despite that, I think a small problem I have with this level is the Sonic Dash sections, we'll call them. The Aero Chasers and the Interceptors. Now, granted, it's not as bad as, say, Skyscraper Scamper Day, where they're back to back, because in this level we have a bit of water in between it, but despite that, the sections still aren't that interesting gameplay-wise. It's just moving from left to right in 3 lanes, just like Sonic Dash. But apart from that, that's really the only downside about this level, because the rest of the level is just simply fantastic. The difficulty is there, length is there, level design is there. Using the great physics system of this game results in so many cool shortcuts being able to be taken. And yeah, not much more to say about it really because, I mean, what more can I possibly say? It's just a fantastic level, end of story. But now it's time to ruffle some feathers once more because in number 4, we have Skyroad Zone 3 from Sonic Lost World. No, not this version, get it out of here mate, from the 3DS of course. And I know what you're gonna say, seriously Unleash, we maybe let it slide with number 8 with Silent Forest Zone 2. But this, you think a Sonic Lost World 3DS level is a top 5 level in the entire franchise. And you know what, yeah. Exactly, I do think this is a top 5 level in the entire franchise. Fight me over it. Again, terrible visuals aside because it's on the flipping 3DS, level design and gameplay here is so bloody brilliant. Now even though this stage has a gimmick where the gyro controls are required, it's not as bad as say the Quake Wisp in this game because it's only tilting it from left to right. And it always feels responsive and you feel like you're never out of control, so I don't mind it in the slightest. And to talk about that gimmick, it is these rocket things. Now this gimmick starts out a bit slow because obviously it's a brand new gimmick in the game where obviously you just tilt it from left to right just to avoid obstacles. Seems simple so far, but then halfway through the level they start to pick up the pace a bit, where sometimes the rocket will actually self-destruct, meaning you have to jump off it and home attack onto another one. And this level does a great job of making replays of it even more fun, because at some point during the level, with these rockets, the game teaches you that if you run these rockets into these enemies right here, you can kill them instantly because these enemies right here, if you look a whole 3-phase fight and it can get a bit tedious, so thankfully, using these rockets right here, you can one-shot them instantly, meaning that replaying this level with this brand new knowledge makes it a whole lot faster because you actually realize that, hang on, I can do this with these enemies early in the level too. Nice. So yeah, overall, I really do like what they do with this gimmick right here with the rocket. It's very cool, even dodging this Zavok dragon robot thing. And speaking of dragons, we have Dragon Dance playing in this level as well. Goated song, so it makes the level even better. And now just like Silent Forest Zone 2, this level has once again a heavy emphasis on parkour. And it's even more in-depth in that level too, because there's just so much ways to go faster here and just so many shortcuts or whatever. Like, it's genuinely incredible gameplay here. It's so rewarding to get good at this level because you realize that, hang on, there are so many more mechanics to this parkour that I didn't realize were actually there before. Like for example, using the speed shoes whilst running on a wall makes you go a lot faster and further than you would do without it, opening up some shortcuts here and there. And then another mechanic with the parkour in this game is that if you spin that straight off a wall and then go back into another one, Sonic won't actually lose any height with it, so you can just keep spin dashing over gaps and just keep the flow going. And then once again, like the previous Lost World 3DS level on this list, you have enemy sections right here, but of course, using a quick spin dash jump, you can skip it all. And then to end off the level, you have some nice little gimmicks with some water or whatever, where Zavok's dragon robot thing will shoot fire onto the ground and light it up obviously. Then using these water balloons will put it out, but if you're fast enough, you can actually make it to the ground before Zavok's robot actually shoots it and lights it up, meaning that you can actually go ahead and skip all the water balloon stuff. Again, more rewarding gameplay for being good. So I'll say it again, boot up Sonic Lost World 3DS right the hell now after this video, play this level, play Silent Forest Zone 2, and then close the game because these two levels right here are so criminally underrated and people overlook it because, oh, it's Lost World 3DS, and I mean for starters obviously on a 3DS so you can't really play it that easily anymore, and 2, people don't really like this game so they don't really give it the time of day, and again, that is a shame because these two levels right here, simply goated. But now moving on to number 3, we have Kingdom Valley from Sonic 06. I mean, come on, Kingdom Valley. Goated already. I don't care about your meh, it's Sonic 06, that means it has to be bad, blah blah blah, I don't care mate. Now let's get it out of the way right now. I think Shadow's Kingdom Valley is kind of mediocre for the first half because you got Rouge and then the weird hang gliding section that lasts for about 20 seconds. Like, what is even the point of this? It's so pointless. But thankfully he has a decent second part of the level, so that's alright I suppose. But where the real meat of Kingdom Valley comes from is Sonic and Silver. We'll talk Silver's version first because obviously Sonic is a better version, but honestly Silver's Kingdom Valley I think is actually pretty fun. happen. I know once again, oh, it's Silver, so we don't like it because god, he's so flipping slow, but it doesn't really matter in this level for me particularly because I think his speed works quite well for the level design given to him. Silver's part of this level just comes down to platforming and using the flying in the air, then hitting stuff in the environment, and it's just overall pretty cool. Just like pretty much every single level for Silver in this game, there are so many shortcuts that you can take using a psychokinesis by hitting buildings early, flying around things, like, it's just cool. That's all I can say, really. Obviously, his combat is a bit weak because it's obviously Silver in 06, so it's very underpowered, just like pretty much everybody in this game. But thankfully, there aren't actually that many forced enemy sections in this level, so that's alright, I suppose. Then in Silver's version of this level, you have to see a quick little brief section with Sonic, and to be honest with you, it's kind of pointless. I mean, you barely do anything with Sonic, so what was even the point in the first place? Don't know. But yeah, overall Kingdom Valley for Silver, great level honestly. Good platforming, good skips, decent enemy sections, overall pretty great. Then when it comes to the better version with Sonic T Hedgehog, simply, once again, goated. Now naturally, because this is Sonic 06, there is a bit of an unhealthy amount of automation at times, but because the level actually has good length to it, it kind of accounts for all that automation. Not completely, but kind of. And I don't know what it is about Sonic 06's automated segments, but they just feel way cooler than like any other Sonic game. Like, just this simple spring in the air, even though it is so damn slow, it just looks cool. I don't know if it's Sonic's model or the camera, the environment, whatever it is, it just looks cool in this game compared to others, so kinda don't mind it. But automation aside, yeah, again, great level design, a lot of skips to do with Sonic, then you got a little break with Silver in between, which is actually pretty fun, again, in my opinion. Then you go back to Sonic, and then you got some max speed in there as well, which looks absolutely beautiful. A big shame that Shadow Generations could actually do it any justice, because that was honestly an insult to the original. What even is this, man? Even looks ugly. And then we haven't even mentioned the music of Kingdom Valley as well, like, again, goated stuff right there. Otani's first debut as composer for the series, and he knocked out the park first time. And then something also that's actually pretty good with Kingdom Valley is the alternate versions of difficulty for Sonic specifically, because you got the hard version and then the very hard version in the DLC. And the hard version, yeah, it's pretty standard stuff, a couple more spikes here and there, nothing too crazy, but the very hard version is where things get ramped up a bit, because they actually flesh out the whole aerial gimmick a whole lot more than the original level, because now what you gotta do is hit an aerial, get onto it, then, oh no, there's nowhere to go. So you gotta hit another switch whilst in the air, make sure not to fall into the water, and then get into another rail, and then rinse and repeat. And even though the rails in this game are just, you know, kind of basic because there's no actual mechanics to them, it's still fun to do because it just looks cool. Sometimes in a Sonic level, even when the gameplay isn't all too engaging, having what you're doing actually look cool can save it a bit. You've just got to make sure to have that balance between gameplay and things just looking cool, because then you end up with Sonic Forces, which did a whole lot of things looking cool, but not much of the gameplay part. But now we move on to number 2 for my pick in the entire series, which is Titanic Monarch from Sonic Mania. Honestly, another level which I feel is kind of underrated, because since it's a final level, it's going to have challenge in it, and as we know with Sonic fans, they don't like difficult games because they kind of suck at them. But Titanic Monarch has 2 back-to-back banger acts of a level. Act 1 is your standard Sonic Mania level. Great level design, even better visuals and music, because it's actually original this time. And there's some great visual storytelling in this level, because throughout this entire level, you're basically scaling a massive robot, and by the end of it, you can see in the background just how high up you really are. Just one of the many cool little things about Sonic Mania. Yeah, Titanic Monarch, it has great difficulty, great platforming, great length. I mean, there's not much more to say about these levels anymore, really. I mean, they're all just very, very good. And then when we go to Act 2, it actually has a very unique way to actually approach the level, where instead of actually just having a full-on level, you get teleported to 4 different locations where you have to actually complete the room in order to beat the entire level. And even though it doesn't really change the way you play the level at all, really, it's just a cool little thing that, yeah, sure, go ahead, it's the final level, so go crazy. And just like Act 1, again, great difficulty, great platforming. I can't really keep saying much more about this, man, it's just too goated. And then with the cherry on top of it all, the final boss in this game is actually very, very good. The regular one and Egg Reverie. So yeah, Titanic Monarch, obviously the best 2D level in the entire series, and just the second best level in the entire franchise too. And it's the final level in the game too. Like, I really do like final levels in Sonic games, because in my personal opinion, if a final level in a Sonic game isn't the best or close to being the best level in the game, it kind of failed at what it's supposed to be doing. It's supposed to leave a lasting impression on you, and if you feel disappointed by it in any way, shape or form, it's gonna hurt the way you feel about the game in general, because it's the last thing you play in the game. It should leave a lasting impression on you. And which is why Sonic Frontiers' original final boss hit like an absolute rock, because as well as it being a crap final boss to begin with, it's also the last thing you ever play in the game, and yeah, it just really soured my taste of the game overall. But now, before we move on to the number 1 pick, I would like to give 3 honourable mentions, the first of those being Press Factory from Sonic Superstars. Despite how ugly this zone can look at times, level design wise, once again, it's actually pretty good actually, it's very good, very nice. And I know it's got Jon Snow's finest music ever created, but not gonna lie, it's gonna be a controversial opinion. I kind of like it for Press Factory. I think the worst part about the music is that it loops way too quickly, because I kind of like how gritty the guitar is in Act 1. Oh well, was supposed to be guitar at least anyways. I have heard so many fine remixes of Act 1's music, and none of them quite hit as hard as the original for me personally, because they're just not gritty enough with the guitar, I feel. The gritty music really works well for this entire factory aesthetic because, I mean, it's a factory, right? It's not supposed to be cheerful or something, it's a literal factory, so it's gotta have some grit to it. But yeah, level design wise, Act 1 is pretty good. A lot of ways to keep your flow going, and you got a pretty cool gimmick with the thing in the background, where after an interval of time, the press in the background will crush and then make the entire level bounce up. And even though you want to avoid it most of the time by just simply jumping, it can also be useful to you by using it to get to higher pathways. So yeah, Act 1 is basically oozes flow. There's not much more to say about it. Only thing significantly hurting this level is first of all the visuals, because Act 1 was pretty flipping ugly, and then 2, the boss fight at the end. Just like many of Sonic Superstars' bosses, this one is basically a whole lot of waiting for things to happen, and then you get an opportunity to hit the boss fight and rinse and repeat. At the very least, the boss fight isn't that long, but despite that, it's still just a whole lot of waiting. Then we go to Act 2, and I really like the green colour palette here. Looks very cool. But then we basically get like a pseudo Sandopolis Oil Ocean from Mania gimmick here, where we have a thing ticking in the background, and if you let it get to 0, the thing explodes and then you die. Pretty cool, honestly. So of course, there are many buttons scattered throughout the entire level where you got to press to reset that timer back to whatever the starting number is. And what I like about this level is the platforming here. This level is basically all about getting good cycles on platforming by just being fast. And when you do, my god, is it satisfying. And then obviously, you've even got the trip versions of these levels, and usually they can be kind of arse, but for Press Factory at least anyways, they're pretty good. Act 2 especially, because with Trip's new moves in this game, it's actually pretty fun to go through this level with all of them. And then thankfully, I think Act 2's boss is actually pretty fun. A bit glitchy and bullcrappy with all the crushing stuff, but otherwise a pretty fun boss. And now for the second honorable mention, we have Crisis City from Sonic 06. Basically similar things to Kingdom Valley, where yeah, great level, great platforming, looks nice, sounds even better. Once again, Sonic and Silver shiny here. Silver's Crisis City is so underrated, genuinely an S tier level right there. But then Shadow's Crisis City is better than Kingdom Valley, but still not as good as Silver's or Sonic's. But yeah, as usual, Sonic steals the show here with his level. Again, just a bit too much automation for my liking in here, which is why it's not really on the top 10, but still overall, great level. Then for the third and final honorable mention, I actually have Egg Rocket Zone from Sonic Advance. Another underrated zone in my opinion. Now this level is basically you scaling up an entire massive, well, egg rocket, with parts of the level being destroyed as you go up, and obviously on a timer too. And it's all basically a vertical level, contrary to the usual, you know, left to right stuff. And it's all, for the most part, pretty much just straight platforming, which is why I love it so much. There are some bullcrappy dimps moments here and there, but doesn't really take away from the level too much. The visuals are brilliant, the music especially, I really like the music here, again, another underrated banger right here. But now, for my number 1 pick on this list, the best level in the entire franchise. I mean, come on, it's Eggman Land from Sonic Goat Leashed once again. I'm pretty sure every single opportunity I have to put this level at number 1 on a tier list or a ranking video, it ends up at number 1. And for good reason too. I mean, the daytime sections in this level, I mean, I've said it 1,000 times in previous videos, but yeah, simply all goated. Great platforming, great difficulty, testing you in every single thing that you've learned throughout the entire game. Then when it comes to the Hedgehog sections, fun combat, a lot of you can actually skip too. Then some fun platforming with a lot of skips to pull off using the Hedgehog's moveset. And what makes Eggman Land so good is its placement in the story too, because after this you got the extra goo and like the stakes and everything here, you just feel how good the ending truly is with Eggman Land here, man. Like, it really is just Eggman's Land. This is what Eggman's been building up towards for nearly 20 years of the franchise existing. So you better believe that they were going to go out with a bang with this level, because if Eggman Land was easy, just ask yourself right now, would it really hit as hard? I mean, come on, it's Eggman Land. This being an absolute gauntlet of a level makes so much sense. You can't have a level called Eggman Land to be underwhelming. That just simply does not compute. So for that reason, I absolutely just love the length and difficulty of this level. It's brutal, sure, but I don't really care because once you master it, it's fun as hell, mate. And with that is the end of this top 10. So those were my picks for the best levels this franchise has to offer. I really do hope that some of these levels can be debunked by the time Frontiers 2 comes out, because I want to see this franchise reach these highs again, because to be fair, Superstars and Sonic Mania both have been delivering, but not really anything in terms of 3D Sonic. Basically all the Frontiers services was either reused and mediocre, or just not quite there in terms of level design and gameplay. Then Shadow Generations, while being good, never truly reached the level of fantastic for me because the game just has so many fundamental issues with it stemming from the physics of the engine. So now hopefully, Kishi Goto, please, my boy, can you please cook with the levels in Frontiers 2, please? And Kishimoto, I know you can do it, mate, because I saw those towers in Update 3 of Frontiers. They were great. I love the platforming and level design there, so please, take that and put it into an actual level. But what are your top 10 levels from this franchise, and do you agree with anything on my list? Let me know down below. I'd love to see what you guys have to say. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, especially the last one. Don't forget to become unleashed by hitting that join button down below. Remember, it's not necessary. And I will see you all next time. Peace.